Hello, my name is Jasmine Lee, and I am not your mama's astrologer. Welcome to the week. Welcome to terrible lighting. That's what's going on. White hair and all. If you're listening, you can't see that, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe I prefer to be listened to. So yeah, how did it go last week? How were the vibes? I feel like this week is kind of like an addendum to last week because we had to do a lot of soul digging, a lot of unearthing, a lot of being honest with ourselves. And now this week, it's time to be honest with everyone else. It's time to really realize that there is a deep truth inside of all of us. And if we aren't living it to its fullest extent, then we face the consequences of living an inauthentic life. And the astrology ain't here for that. Today, tomorrow, this week, there's some interesting things going on. Mercury is going to be moving signs. It's moving into Sagittarius. That's kind of nice in some ways because in all of this scorpionic energy with Mercury being there too, it's like we've been unearthing these very soulful places, these darker nooks and crannies that are inside of us, the ways we've let ourselves down, the deeper truths around how we've really been feeling about some things. And now that it's moving into Sagittarius, Mercury, which is our thoughts, which is our communication style, well, the truth hurts. The truth can sting, and Sagittarius has a tendency to stick its foot in its mouth. So, the thing I've always loved about Sagittarian energy is that it is a truth seeker. It is a truth serum. It is a truth sayer. It is energy that stands up for philosophy and ways of being and learning that are unsurpassed by any other sign. They really are one of those, I really want to know kind of energies. The curiosity of the lesson is what this beautiful Sagittarius energy brings to us. So if we've been in this deep space, if the weather is starting to change, not only outside but inside us, if we're starting to feel the rumbles of transformation, Pluto coming at us, going direct, heading to Aquarius, which is different, which is feeling different, doing different, being different, depending on where Aquarius falls in your chart, then there is this collective sense that I just need to say the damn thing. I just need to say it. I just need to be honest. And then I think of how many times in a day we are loosely dishonest, not just with ourselves, not just with other people, but with the illusions that we're creating inside of us, with the realities that we are forging that are our own fictions. It's this time now to be in a more soulful place and speak to it and say it. And that's dangerous, though, going into election week, right? Because what are we going to say? How are we going to say it? When do we say something versus when we don't? These are going to be some interesting vibey themes. We're also going into Mercury retrograde's shadow. Don't worry, it's not Mercury retrograde yet. Mercury retrograde falls on Thanksgiving. So if you were planning on traveling, you might want to think twice. If you don't have to, don't. If you have to, get flight insurance. Have a spare tire in your car. Have a contingency plan. Have a backup plan. Have a plan B. Have a plan C. But I digress. Mercury retrograde is upon us in a couple weeks. When we go into Mercury retrograde's shadow, it's almost like we get the check engine light of our proverbial cars. It's like this week we're going to start to see some hints as to what the theme of our own independent Mercury retrograde is going to feel like. Mercury is a really powerful planet because our thoughts are really powerful and they can be equally helpful and be the thing that sinks us. It just really depends on how we decide to play it. People always act like Mercury retrograde is such a hard, bad thing, but really I've always looked at Mercury retrograde as just a time to move slower, a time to understand that what was about to break will, and to know that what you were putting off for tomorrow, well, Mercury retrograde is the proverbial tomorrow. Here we are. So when we enter its shadow, and when Mercury is moving into this new sign of Sagittarius, it's almost like it's the truth teller. It is, what have I been keeping to myself that isn't working anymore? What can I not keep quiet any longer about? And so this is really a beautiful time in the astrological weather to find your voice, to find something that sticks, something that holds water in your own psyche to work with. I think that it's really important. I think that it's really maybe not an easy time, but a productive time for us. On Monday, the sun is making a really positive aspect with Saturn. So we're starting to get the point. Like, okay, Jasmine, you've been saying the same stuff for weeks. And that's true. There has been a flavor to what I've been inviting you to think about, to sit with, to walk through, to ponder. But this Monday, it's almost like we are understanding a little bit more about our place in the world and where we need to be taking up space versus where we don't. And I kind of dig that for us, you know. We also have a lot going on Thursday. I keep my notes in front of me so that I don't forget things. There's a lot of positive aspects. Also, I think the moon moving into Aquarius after the election is like this really great tension release of, okay, I need to be able to emotionally detach. And Aquarian energy lets us do that. Aquarius energy, when the moon moves into Aquarius, it lets us see a bit of a bigger picture. So we start out like today, I think the moon is in Sagittarius, isn't it? So that's an interesting little precursor. Yes, the moon is in Sagittarius. So it's this like beautiful precursor to Mercury going into Sagittarius. How do you feel? How did you feel this weekend? How do you feel today, Monday? How is the energy flowing? What is it pulling you towards? Because the moon, I like to see it as this beautiful like pull. It's like pulling you out and moving you, and whatever energy it's in, it's moving you to that place. So when the moon right now being in Sagittarius, it's moving you towards your next adventure. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to think about? What are some new topics that you want to explore? That's very vibey and lovely. And then you have these beautiful life lessons on Monday that are starting to make more sense to where you fit in your own life story, which I think is wonderful. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, like a part of Tuesday, all of Wednesday, going into Thursday, we have Capricorn energy. So we are better able to put ourselves to work. Capricorn rules the house of work. So the moon is moving us towards our proverbial work. Okay, we get whatever news we get on Tuesday. You know, the moon starts out in the middle of the night in Sagittarius, but then on Tuesday it goes right in to Capricorn, which is, okay, we have work to do. What's the work? Not just politically, okay? If I depended on what was going on politically to dictate what I was doing personally, well, I would be a lost soul, my friends. So, but no matter what, whenever elections happen, there's a yes and there's a no, and there's a success and there's a loss, and honoring that and also moving forward as Capricorn moon wants us to do. But then talking about Thursday with so much astrology going on, I think that the moon moving into Aquarius on Thursday is really going to help us be able to take ourselves out of the equation, because the truth is the truth. The caveat is our own truths are different from other people's truths. And so all we can do is get right with our own truths. All we can do is dream our own dreams. All we can do is believe our own beliefs. This is a deep time in Scorpio season. Being in November is this time where the Scorpion is a quiet, like not attention getting energy, but it's very scary, right? It's a Scorpion. It sits in a corner and can really sting you. And it is one of the only signs in the astrological wheel that is scary that way, that holds impact in that way, that has a stinger in that way, but it's also something you can kill quite simply. So to me, Scorpio is this beautiful balance of hard stinging energy met with vulnerability. So it's the notion, the beautiful notion of, can we be vulnerable in these scary times? Can we be walking across a room as a little scorpion with a proverbial shoe above our heads and embrace that? And embrace that there is always a shoe. There is always a thing above us looming up ahead. But here comes Sagittarius Mercury saying, that is a choose your own adventure, guys. Like, stop about the doom and gloom. Stop thinking about all the ways that you can fail and start thinking about the ways that you can succeed. Start planning your next adventure. Start imagining your new philosophy. Start being the change you wish to see in the world. That's what this week really wants to speak to, is that we are all of us, vulnerable to the elements of our lives. Nobody gets away without heartache, without pain, without betrayal, without the most juiciest, happiest, blissful thing too. We all get to experience the full spectrum of emotion, and to think that yours is more impactful or important than another is faulty. And so moving this week in a way that is honest, whatever that looks like for you. It might ruffle some feathers. It surely might. But keep your compassion at arm's reach, because everybody is fighting their own battle right now. Everybody is enmeshed in their own vulnerability right now. Everybody is left bellies exposed. And it says more about you, what you do with that kind of power with others. Do we use it to be extra empathetic, to care, to forgive, to love, to have compassion? It's a beautiful opportunity for that, because a Sagittarius Mercury, that's the archer. That's, you find your point and you shoot to that point. But you have to have a focus. Like a ballerina turning in circles, you must have a focus, because if you lose that focus, then surely peril ensues. Broken bones abound. So what is your focus? What is your wish? There's a lot of energy that's asking you, what is it this week? And instead of the weeks previous, where we've had to go so deep into our own personal accountability, now we're going to see everybody else's personal accountabilities being played out on a big screen, on a big, wide Megatron. And we're all going to have feelings about that. And sometimes it's like when your kid throws a tantrum. Sometimes there's medicine in the tantrum. Sometimes there is beauty in the breakdown. Sometimes you have to just hold the space, hold the room without judgment, but also respect your own sacred boundary, your own sacred space, and more importantly, your own sacred truth. Might not come out the way you wish it did this week. We might say some stingy, hurtful things. We might have feelings with the moon opposing Mars this week about our fight versus our flight, our agreements versus our disagreements. There might be a push and pull with how we feel about how other people are feeling. And really it's this big opportunity to expand, to become a sponge, to absorb what is around us, that truly we are all just doing our best. And whatever you need to say it, and then allow the space, allow the big emotion of others, allow the feeling in the room to impact how you proceed. Because sometimes if there's something you've really been wanting, if there's something that isn't working for you anymore, and you finally say it, well, it disperses the energy all around you. It makes so much more available to you. It's cleaning out the proverbial gutters of the insides of our rib cages. It's when we finally say things that are hard to say, when we finally say things that we've been avoiding saying because we want to be the better person, we want to be the bigger person, then we also deny a core need inside of ourselves. And when we start doing that for too long, then it can build up, then it can add up. Then that's when Sagittarius comes in and says it all wrong, because we haven't said it for far too long. So this is your homework assignment. my dearest friends. My cat's into it. Here it is. What is something that you've been afraid to say for a long time? What is something that you need to say this week? Please do this homework. Please think about something you need to say. Is it uncomfortable? Does it make you feel uncomfortable? Does it make other people in the room feel uncomfortable? Do you feel like it would change something? Because here is a big, big piece that I just want to drop on you for thought, is that if there is something that is fundamental that you are needing, that you are not saying because you are afraid that that person, that circumstance, that environment will go away, and yet that thing is crucial to your happiness, to your boundaries, then you're living in an illusion, not saying it anyway. If that person would leave because of the thing you would say, well then, my friend, open that window, open that door, bye-bye. Because our truth is non-negotiable. Because how we really feel about something won't go away. I'm not talking about little things. Though maybe some little things really need to change. And that's the beginning of the bigger changes and of the things that we can really accomplish when we start seeing what's not working in a more validating way. I think sometimes we all get so hopeless. I think sometimes we all feel so victimized. I think sometimes we all don't see where the right turn is. And Sagittarius says you don't need to know the right turn, you just need to turn. Sagittarius is the kind of energy that would rather get kicked in the butt and know that it hurts than have someone tell them that it hurts and never experience it themselves. Sagittarius is an experiential energy, because in order to know, you have to experience yourself, because after all, we don't know what we know. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. And we have to forgive ourselves of what we don't know right now, but we need to empower ourselves to learn the things that we do want to know tomorrow. So, first line of homework, what's something you really need to say? How are you going to say it? How could you say it? And what's the thing, the second addendum to the homework, that you really want to know that you don't know yet? Let's quest together. This could be the beginning of a beautiful adventure this week, you guys. This could be the beginning of what the next phase of your life is. You just kind of got to know where you want to go. You know what I mean? And then this weekend, the moon moves into Pisces, where we get all of this intuitive magic, all of this insight based on what happened during the week. And that's so great. We just have to believe in it more. We just have to want to experience life, because I tell you, if there's something you're afraid to say, if there's something you're afraid to do, if there's something you're keeping yourself back from, then you're not allowing the experience to play itself out. Sometimes you just need to go, even if you don't know where, even if you don't know what. It's going to be about the journey, not necessarily the answer. The answers will come, but the experience of getting to the answer is the thing you'll remember the most. So this week is about experiencing. This week is about your mind being able to open itself to what it is you want to learn next, to what it is you want to be next, to what it is you are not seeing that you really want to start seeing. But do not get ahead of yourself, because the card I pulled is here and now. We can only change by increments. We can only change one step at a time. We can only change when we're working presently. It's the caveat. You don't get to know your future. You don't get to know what's going to happen next. You don't get to know what 5 years from now looks like. You don't even get to know what 1 hour from now looks like. But you do get to be here. You do get to be here now. And you get to plan and then laugh at how your plans came to fruition, never how you thought they would. Because that's always how it works. That's always the Pied Piper is leading us in a direction. We just don't always know where we're going to end up in the big grand scheme of things. So all I can say to that is take the adventure and stay with it presently. Say what you need to say now, so that what gets said later comes from a truer, more authentic place. Start planning for what you don't know now, so that you can start learning it now for later. Who knows if later is going to happen? I don't know. You don't know. We could cross the street and get hit by a car and die tomorrow. We don't even know. But what would be the one thing, the one-ness that you would have really loved to have known before you left this earth, and start working towards that, because we only get this one beautiful, precious life. I hope you have all the questions I hope you have none of the answers. I think going into the great darkness that Scorpio leads us down in our month with that energy is that with that, we are the light that we bring down to our darkness. We are the thing that lights us up. We are the question and the answer. And if we're not using our voice authentically, then we are going to mirror that. And who wants that? I don't. My cat doesn't. Thank you so much for listening. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let's have a dialogue. How has it been going? How have the weeks been resonating? Are there any questions that I can answer for you? Always here to be of service and be in this beautiful cosmos with you. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next week.